Hello, Postscript listeners, and hi, Christina.
Hi, Beth. Welcome back. We missed you last week.
Oh my gosh, I miss you guys so much, but I'm really happy to be back. I actually feel so much better.
That's good.
Right.
I don't think we mentioned that you were out with the plague.
With the plague. I was plagued last
She's back.
week. It was awful. It was not fun. Got a lot of sleep, though, so that's good. The episode last week was great, and thank you, Producer Allie, for filling in. I really appreciate it. Another thing I love are the insider emails from Masterpiece that go out after each new All Creatures episode airs on public television.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You sent us the one for a quiz called "Which Skeldale House resident are you?"
Yes.
That went out after episode 2. So I took the quiz, Allie took the quiz, and I think you took the quiz.
Yes.
So let's talk about the results. But actually, first, before we talk about our results, we'd love to learn which Skeldale resident you are. So you can find a link to the quiz in our podcast description, and then email us your results at ps@witf.org.
Or slide into our DMs on Instagram at WITFORG or Facebook at WITF.org. So let's see who's the most popular at the beginning of next episode.
Okay.
So
do we want to say who we think everybody is first and then share our results?
And it's just Skeldale House, right?
Right.
It's
Skeldale House residents.
So it's either Mrs. Hall, Siegfried, Tristan, Helen, or James.
Right.
Or Jess, which
we're not sure if Jess is included.
I want Jess.
But she should be.
So who do you think Allie and myself would be?
So you, Beth, I think that you are Tristan, like all the way down to your deep soul. And I think Allie feels like a Mrs. Hall to me, actually, because she likes to take care of everybody around her. We know this because she takes care of us. Yes,
she takes care of us so well. I'm going to agree with you on that. I think Allie's Mrs. Hall because she does take care of everyone. I'm stumped with you.
Oh, yeah?
But I want to say a little bit of Siegfried, but you're so much calmer than Siegfried.
Only
so
on the
I don't know.
outside.
I feel like you're a mix of only on the outside. Oh my gosh.
I look calm, but inside I feel like I'm very Siegfried, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
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 Maybe I got it right. I don't know. Allie, do you want to share who you think we are?
Okay, so I'm jumping on the mic. I think because of the people you like, I also thought Tristan and maybe Siegfried, even though...
Because you love Siegfried.
I do love Siegfried. But I don't feel Siegfried from Christina.
I don't
either. So that's why
I don't have his
maybe,
frenetic energy on the outside.
So ditto with the Mrs. Hall, the caretaker.
She does, yeah.
She took care of me last weekend. So that was last episode.
Into the weekend.
So that was really nice. And then, I thought the same, Tristan for Beth, just because of her spirit. And and we talked about so much on the show that would lead me to be like, she identified a lot with Tristan.
I do.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought too.
Literally,
there's actual mannerisms that you do that I'm like, you're Tristan.
Oh my gosh. I hope somebody says oh my gosh, I knew you would be this person or something. That would be awesome. Please write in. All right. So, Christina, who did you get?
So I actually got Helen, which I'm not mad about.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about Helen, but I did think it was Siegfried or Helen, I felt like, in my mind that I was going to get. And so the little description says that Helen is clever, tried to blend those words, intelligent, kind, and hardworking. And when her mother passed away, she took on the role of mother in the Alderson home, raising Jenny, making sure everyone was fed and the house was kept tidy. She lived in Derby her whole life, and it shows. Her strong connection to her neighbors and town folks show she's an active member of the community. And she's a woman who refuses to be put in a box or labeled any certain way. She'll wear wellies on her wedding day because a beautiful white dress comes second to things getting done. A lot of this I do identify with.
I think that description describes you.
Yes. Because when I saw her in wellies on her way to the wedding, I was like, is she wearing boots? I love it.
You're like, give me some of those.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm going to steal that for my own wedding one day.
I love
please
that.
I'm going to wear wellies.
Yes, please. Okay, so I actually got, drum roll, please. I'm just James.
can't.
I know. What?
James is such a rule follower.
I know, and I
do
feel like
not
I don't
see
follow
that
rules.
way, but
I follow rules, but I push them.
Okay.
So like I do follow them when I need to, but then I'm
Right.
like, well, do I have to follow it? Because
You
this
have
wasn't
shared
clearly
that
identified.
you like having some structure too.
I do like having
so
structure.
That is a little bit James.
Yeah, I
very
mean, I am a
James.
project manager, so
Yes.
that structure is very much
There's your
appreciated.
James.
So his description is, you got James. James has a kind heart and big dreams, and he works hard to make his dreams a reality. He's considerate, responsible, a family man, and a good friend to have in your corner. He generally looks on the bright side of things, and he's not one to give up hope.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that does describe you.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
try to always look at like the positive things, and
Yeah.
like if there's too much negativity, I'm like, guys, let's
Let's pull it together.
Like,
I
you
like
woke up
when you're
today.
saying
It's
good
good.
morning to us during meetings
yeah.
because it
Oh,
always
yeah.
feels fake, but also you are cheerful sounding.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a 10 a.m. morning every week, and I'm like, good morning. And then it's like, everybody's like, yep,
Brings
still
the
working on the
sunshine
coffee.
around.
You guys giggle, though, and laugh, so that's all. It's good. That's good.
I love it.
All right, Allie,
So we
what'd you
have
get?
James and Helen
Yeah.
as our hosts.
Oh yeah,
of
that's right. We
Postscript.
are the perfect match.
It works.
Of course they're
love it.
compatible.
I know, exactly.
This is why it works.
This is why it works.
Okay. So you guessed that I would be Mrs. Hall.
right.
She's Tristan, aren't you?
Are you ready? Beth is
Did you get
not
Jess?
ready. You got Siegfried.
No way you got Siegfried.
So the
Oh my
opposite.
God, that's not you at all. I want to hear the
The
description,
description might be.
Okay.
Siegfried is a man who takes life and all his responsibilities very seriously.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yep.
Yes,
Check.
yes, that's what you do.
Life has certainly thrown him some curveballs, such as the passing of his parents, unexpectedly taking on the role of father to Tristan, his wife's passing, his time fighting in World War I, just to name a few. But none of the obstacles he's been faced with have stopped him from working hard and providing for his family. His responses may seem grouchy at times, but he is
little.
undoubtedly someone you can call for help anytime, anywhere.
That's
When
you.
when you
That was
are
Siegfried.
That's you.
when you're responsible for too much, you're bound to get cranky sometimes. Like that's
Oh,
why I
you've
love
seen my
Siegfried so much.
But I just thought it was
you're
so
not
funny.
cranky,
Expressive?
or grouchy.
Maybe?
Yeah, but like when you express, you're not cranky.
Maybe passionate.
Passionate's a
yes,
good
is
word.
the
Bouncing
right way
off
to
the walls
say it.
kind of way. So I see it after the description,
I
which
guess-
is so funny.
I guess yes, the passionate does make sense. Siegfried is very passionate
He is very
about
passionate.
everything,
Which we
so
find out a little
that
more
makes
in
sense.
today's episode.
That's true. And I just wanted
my
to
gosh.
add, I took the quiz a few times because not because I don't want Siegfried, but some of the answers I was like, I could go this way or that
Right.
way. And so when I went back and went that way, I still got Siegfried.
Yeah, I took it
So I
twice
love
too,
it.
just to make sure. And I am
Oh my gosh.
squarely Helen, apparently.
That's so funny. I only took it once. I was like, yep,
Both-
James got it.
All of us are responsible. We're
We
all
are.
responsible people. Oh, that's so
I
good.
love it. Look at our little Skeldale family.
I know.
Okay, I'm cutting my mic now and I'm handing it back to you two.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we'll have more to explore in the future. Beth, how are you feeling? Should we get started?
Yes,
Okay.
please, let's get it started. So we open the episode and we see James walking into the Ministry of Agriculture, aka the MAG.
The mag.
The MAG.
Sounds terrifying.
I know. And it is because when he walks in, we immediately hear yelling.
Yes. Mr.
Yes.
Harcourt is a hard man.
He's intense.
Yeah, he's intense.
Yeah, a little too much. We also see that, James notices, the newspaper. It states
Right.
conscription begins 6 months military training.
Which is a theme running through this episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, about is this calling out to James? Mm-hmm. So then we have Mr. Charles Harcourt, who is the divisional inspector. He's unhappy a little bit with the results of James's TB testing. And oh my gosh, the results of this TB testing. But we find out that did James test the cow that was dead?
Yeah, James tested a cow that had been dead for 2 years at one of the farms in the Dales. Postwaith? Is that how you pronounce
Postlewith, I think.
Postlewith?
Yeah. But,
okay.
So that's what I didn't understand. So he tested the cow that was dead for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, did he go? Because I can't see James going up to a dead cow that's 2 years dead
I mean,
and
it
test
would be pretty
or,
decomposed by then.
Exactly. So I'm guessing, like, did the farmer then give him falsification?
Maybe the wrong name or wrong number. I don't know how you report a cow. Because they don't actually have legal names. How would they know?
I don't know. How do they know that it was 2 years dead unless you look at it and like I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what he's in trouble for.
He is very much in trouble, and he keeps yelling at him and yelling and yelling
and yelling and yelling. And James is apologizing before he even knows what he did wrong, which I thought was pretty funny. Something I would probably do. I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'll do it better next time.
He's like, you don't even know what happened. So he keeps yelling at James, though, and I'm just like, he definitely would have gotten like HR on his butt today.
Right.
At least I would hope.
And he says, why the bloody hell do you keep ballsing up the TB testing?
I know.
And I mean, I just love the term balls up.
Yeah.
Like I ballsed that
ballsing
up.
I ballsed it up. I messed it up.
I'm going to try and work that into my my vocabulary from now on.
I hope
it's just so fun.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear that because that's not how it's used over here in the U.S. So then we go to the Skeldale House, and Siegfried is carrying around Tricky Woo.
Right, Tricky Woo's in this episode, and he should be in every episode.
Of course.
I almost said she, but it's Derek. So that is definitely a boy's name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because Mrs. Pumphrey's out of town, and so he gets Tricky, which is awesome.
Babysitting.
Yeah, exactly. So he actually, like Helen says that James is at the mag for a meeting.
Right.
And like is waiting for him to come home and stuff from that. But Siegfried is like, you don't get called in there unless you've done something terribly wrong.
Terribly wrong.
And so then Helen's like, what the heck did James do? He's a straight shooter. He follows the book.
He didn't do anything wrong, did he?
Yeah, like what?
So shame on James for not sharing his life with Helen, just FYI. Because he should be saying these things. Like, well, I ballsed something up.
I ballsed it up. I love that you just made up ballsed, by the way. Yeah. We ballsed it.
English is a forever evolving language.
It'll be in the dictionary in a couple weeks, don't worry. So then we're back to the mag, and James is getting chewed out for one of the farms he visited. Notice the sanitation, disinfection. He's like not doing the forms right.
He sent it to Mr. Harcourt instead.
Yeah, he like has no idea like really what he's doing with the forms.
He's really bad with forms. Yeah, which is strange because he's a rule follower. You would think that forms would be his forte. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then Mr. Harcourt explains like, this is the business of like saving lives, not only animals, but humans too. So James really has to like work hard and, he asks for another chance. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then James asks for his other chance, like another chance. And so Mr. Harcourt goes through a whole lot of forms.
So many forms.
I know.
It was ridiculous.
I know.
We'll go through the procedure once more, shall we?
Yes, by all means.
Right. First of all, if you find an infected animal, you serve B205DT Form A. Notice requiring detention and isolation of the animal. Next, we have B207DT Form C, notice of intended slaughter. Then B208DT Form D, post-mortem certificate. Then we have B196DT, veterinary inspector's report. B209DT, valuation agreement. And in cases where the owner objects, we have B213DT, appointment of valuer. Then B212DT, notice to owner of time and place of slaughter, followed by B227DT, receipt for animal for slaughter. Finally, B230DT, notice requiring cleansing and disinfection. Damn it! A child could understand that!
I don't know what he's talking about because I would not be able to pick that up. He was yelling.
There's so many of them. What James needs is an actual list like Allie made us for our notes.
I know.
Because
a list of them.
It's so confusing. And I'm sure he has a list somewhere, but going through them piece by piece, so easy. A child could do it. like what even happened just now?
Well, how old would the child be? Like, let's be real, because
At least 17.
Yeah, I watched it twice and I couldn't follow it. There are 9
so
forms.
many numbers. Yeah.
9 forms. And then
they
the numbers
all start with the same letter and end with DT.
Yeah. B205DT, Form A. And then it goes to Form C, which is confusing, but they're all different numbers. So it's like, oh my gosh.
It's a lot. I can understand why James is having a hard time with this.
Yeah.
I don't love forms. I once had to file my taxes manually. And it was just state taxes. And that alone was just like, no, next year I'm paying somebody to do this for me. Because I tried to cheap out on it and do it with the free, not e-file, TurboTax.
Oh, okay.
And it wouldn't submit. So I had to do it manually. And it was awful. So now I pay somebody money to do my taxes.
Yeah, I've never, that's one thing that I'm like, I could never.
There's like a book of forms when I get my taxes back. Like, no, thank you. I do not. I would not do well.
Pay somebody to do that. I always pay somebody to do it. I'll never be able to do that. But anyway, so that's a lot of forms. Mr. Hardcore sees that James is going to the Rudds and he likes him, but he needs him to not mess up again. Do you want to say that, Chloe?
Don't make a balls up of this one.
And he's giving James one last chance. And at that, let's take a quick break, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Support for all creatures, great and small, on Masterpiece is made possible locally by WITF members and by Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, and Argiers Murati Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster.
Welcome back, and now we're going to travel back to the Skeldale House, and we are finding out that Tristan bought himself a new car.
I know.
Well, not quite a new car.
New to him.
That's a lie. It's new to him.
It's new to him, and it is so loud.
It's very loud. Lots of miniature explosions happening in this car.
I know. It reminds me of my first car. It really does.
Oh, yeah? Did you have a real clunker?
I probably never should have bought that car, but
mine was a tank. Like, it had a piece missing out of the front.
That's hilarious.
Bumper, because it was my Meemaw's car first, and she had hit a few curbs, I guess, parking. Yeah. So his is in louder shape than mine was.
Just louder shape.
Yeah.
Mine eventually, my second car eventually just got so loud, and I was like, I can't put a kid in this because I was pregnant, and I was like, I gotta get rid of this car. I can't put a kid in here. I don't feel safe.
I need a quieter one.
Like, I need a quieter
one that doesn't sound like it's going to fall apart at any moment.
Yes, it was so loud. It's like, okay, goodbye. So his car is so loud. He takes Helen up to work, and I thought it was really cute. Helen just like gets in the car, like, "Sure, Tristan, let's go," and they're like all smiling, and Siegfried is like sweating.
You know, I think it's like a thing when you're young, you don't think about the dangers of your car falling apart. Maybe you're just like, I got a car, and they're like, "Cool, take me to work."
I know. He's like, "Oh my gosh, let's go." So it was really funny, and Tristan's being like responsible because he has late surgery. He's gonna go take on.
Some of James's farm work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Blanked
I knew
on
where you
James's
were
name
going.
for a second. I am James. But like, Siegfried is just like, well, who's going to do surgery?
Yeah, it's like, well, you are, I guess.
Sorry, bud. Got to work today. You can't just putz around the house.
Right. And Siegfried is being kind of weird about this. Like, this is what he wanted Tristan to do, is to be responsible. And Mrs. Hall kind of points it out to him. But, Siegfried is struggling to find his place in this new relationship with Tristan. It's changing.
With Tristan and with James being a partner.
Right.
He's off doing the TB testing, and Helen in the house.
Siegfried's stuck at home doing
the paperwork and surgery. Yeah. So, But so anyway, then we switch to, we have this moment where James is driving, and we're just like, there's no words. Well, I'm sorry, there are words. Left, 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 right, left. So that's being repeated over and over. We have the army men training on the road, and you can just see James's face. No words from him. It's just all in his face. The acting, once again, phenomenal.
He's so great at conveying so much through his face. Like in last episode, there was that one storyline that was comedic, and I happened to pause when the cat gets loose in the car, and his face literally looks like there is a cat trying to eat him. I'm like, how does he do this? Like, I would never be able to fake it like that, but he's fantastic. Yeah, he conveys so much with just his face.
It's great. And you just hear like all of the thoughts that are going through his head.
Yep.
You know, it's wonderful. Yeah. So then we go to Heston Grange, and, you know, Tom is helping out the Aldersons, putting this gate up. And then that's when Helen finds out that James, you know, had that struggle with like the forms and the little mix-up.
But he reported the dead cow.
He reported a 2-year-old dead cow.
Yeah.
And then Helen's like, huh, okay, well, now I know.
Didn't tell me that.
Yeah. And then we jump around like bing, 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 bing this time.
Yeah.
So James is at the Rudd's farm. It's really nice, I thought, to see Mr. Rudd being really kind of on board with the TB testing.
He seems nervous, rightfully so, but he seems like, he's on board, and he's helping James out by getting more of the farmers probably on board by signing up himself. So, yeah, and also he found out that the Aldersons can charge. Was it the Aldersons could charge more for their milk because
they were all tested?
Their cows were tested. So he's like, every little bit helps, and that's really, you know, that's also playing in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But he's supportive. Yeah,
it was nice that he did that. But then...
oh, no, not the music.
I know. Oh, no, not the music. It could be something or nothing, but we're not sure. And then the cow sneezes.
Yeah, it's gross.
So maybe
I was eating lunch when we watched it. And the cow sneezed, and I was just like, eh.
There was a lot going on there with the snot of the cow.
Yep, there was a lot of snot.
You know, the detail that they bring into this episode around the animals. But, you know, he says, like, James is going to do the test, and, like, believe me, he says, like, believe me, I'd be glad to be wrong on this occasion. Like, he does not.
He doesn't want the cow to have TB.
No, he doesn't. And
he doesn't want any of them to have TB.
No, he doesn't. Exactly. So then we switch to Tristan in his car. He's done all of his work by throwing all the papers down. So I'm very confused as to if he's done or if he didn't do them.
Well, I don't know because this is Tristan. But he seems to be more responsible now. So I'm leaning towards he got it done because he worked really hard and really fast and smart. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I like it. Just because you called me Tristan earlier. Okay. I like it. Tristan is responsible. Thank you.
He's becoming responsible. I would date Tristan now. Like this Tristan I would date. Yeah. He's growing up a little bit.
He is. Yeah. He's not in the back of the train not paying for his ticket anymore.
He's not good for just a laugh anymore.
In last night's clothing. Exactly. Oh my goodness. So then we go to Audrey and Gerald, and they're talking about how there's an Elgar recital at the Village Hall this week, and they're playing her favorite Salute d'Amour, and they talk about how like they could go together, and is this a date? I don't know.
I mean, this is clearly a date because I did a closer look at Salute de l'Amour.
Ooh, okay.
I'm probably saying it wrong, but anyways, it literally translates to love letter. And it was...
Oh, it's a date.
It's a date. It's for sure a date. It was written in 1888 as an engagement gift.
Oh, it's a date.
By Sir Edward Elgar for his wife, Carolyn Alice Roberts, who apparently went by Alice. She gave him a poem that she had written years before, and he set it to music, first scoring it to piano and later for violin and piano and then orchestrating it too. And he won £5 after entering it in a competition, which translates to 2,600 pounds approximately today. So not too bad. Yeah. The joint effort. So it's definitely
really cool.
A date.
Yeah, that's a date.
It's a love song.
It's a date. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for that closer look. Very informative. So we have Tristan who arrives at Florence's. Funny to see Tristan showing off his car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He was checking on Daisy.
He was checking on Daisy. And showing off his car.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny how he went and said, you know, he just wanted to come and say hello. And
right.
She's like,
and
well,
okay,
hello then.
Hello.
And then he goes to turn around. Okay, I'll see you later. But then he goes and says...
Take you for a drive in the car. I mean, if you like. And not now, obviously. Tomorrow, maybe. Or next week. I'm free most of this month. Or year.
I loved it.
So when I was watching this with Matt, I said, if somebody said that to you, would you go out with them? and with them, not him, Tristan specifically. And he was like, no, probably not. I was like, oh my God, I found it so endearing. If somebody had come up to me and rambled off that whole thing and they looked so uncomfortable and they were as cute as Tristan, I'd be like, sure, you can take me out.
I would too.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's so adorable. He is not smooth at all. But it works for him.
Which is funny because he's always smooth.
Yeah, well, that's his persona. Now she's tripped him up because he actually likes him.
Yeah.
He actually likes her.
Really likes her.
Yeah.
He's not just trying to play her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants something with her.
She says yes. She's like, sure, you can pick me up at 2.
Pick me up at 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. So then we go back to the Skeldale house and we have the TB testing. So James is testing for TB. He's wearing a mask, and I'm guessing because of all the fumes, like the chemicals make.
Maybe.
And then we find out that it's positive.
Yeah. And so I did another closer look. 2 closer looks back to back.
Oh, I like it.
So this one is from the California Department of Food and Agriculture. And I found a little bit about TB testing for cattle, which I have been looking for since the season started. And I found it. So there are 3 tests for TB testing in cattle. One is the caudal fold tuberculin CFT test.
Okay.
And it is a test that stimulates a response to Mycobacterium bovis. I'm probably saying this all wrong.
You're doing a great job.
Using an intradermal injection of a purified protein derivative of tuberculin. So basically, it's like a piece of tuberculosis probably, into the caudal fold, which is the fold of skin right at the base of the tail. So if the cow's been exposed, the immune system responds with inflammation. And so the vet checks for a response after 72 hours for abnormalities. And there are false positives sometimes in 1 to 5% of cases. So just because they test positive there, they follow up with another test.
Okay.
I did think it was interesting that it was 72 hours because I think that's the same for humans. Like the TB testing is
I was
3
just
days,
thinking,
right?
I was like, oh, they inject it with tuberculin.
Yeah,
That's the same exact thing you do on
prick.
your arm when you have to go get a TB
so
test for a human.
Very similar.
Except we don't have tails.
Right,
so
we don't have tails. It
tail.
doesn't go in our caudal fold.
Goes in our arm.
One of the follow-up tests is a blood test that checks the levels of cytokine, gamma, and ferrion, which is basically just testing for an immune response to see if the immune system is responding to this. And then there is a comparative cervical tuberculin CCT test.
Oh, my goodness.
So this one, I think, is closer to what they're doing in the show.
Okay.
It's performed 10 days after the CFT injection, so the first test. Hair is clipped on 2 areas on the neck, on the same side of the neck, and then the skin thickness is measured, and the PPD, which is the protein derivative from earlier, is injected. One of those is a bovine version of tuberculosis, and the other is avian. And then they, again, wait 3 days and measure the response. And the difference in skin thickness determines if it's more likely to be avian or bovine. So if it's negative, obviously they don't do anything. The cow's fine.
Yeah.
If it's suspect, like they don't know for sure, they either euthanize and do an autopsy or a postmortem, or they remain under quarantine and they test again later. And if it's like for sure, they just euthanize and do a postmortem.
Huh.
So that's my closer look on the TB testing.
That's interesting, though, because
happy I found it.
Well, isn't Tristan, when he's testing the cows in the beginning, the first time we see him at the Ruds, isn't he going back to the Ruds? Or is that his first? Because I wonder if they were inserting with the needle back then, inserting the tuberculin, because he goes, yep, this one's good, and then they bring the next one. So I wonder if that is
you mean with the wedding episode?
No, this one.
Oh, this one.
When he's testing at the Ruds.
Oh, okay.
I forget if he went back or like if that was his first time at the Ruds or if it was not his first time.
Yeah, I don't know if we established that bit.
Yeah, we don't know. Back. Like, so maybe they did do the tail
and they just
injection.
Didn't show that initially.
Because he said there is some swelling on this one.
Yeah.
But there wasn't swelling on the other.
So it might have been that he came back 3 days later and that's what we're seeing.
It could be. Yeah.
So I don't know how accurate it is, but that's the test that they do now. And it seemed similar enough that I thought, yeah, I'm I'm going to mention this.
I like it, though. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we see Siegfried pass by, and he's talking about, oh, you had to go to Mag. And James is like, well, we're fine. He goes, well, I'm a great leader. They're not. And it's like, oh, yeah, great. Thanks, Siegfried. And then he goes and says, the Mag has the power to shut them down. Pressure's on.
Oh, so much pressure.
I know. Poor James. Like, nobody even,
everyone keeps
realizes
reminding him that it's his responsibility and his alone.
Yeah. And just poor James.
Yeah.
So he goes up to talk to Helen, and he feels like he's letting everyone down. Like, he's letting the farmers down because he's making the testing happen. And
he's the one saying your cow has to be put down.
Exactly.
And here's your 5 pounds or whatever it was. I can't even remember how much it was. But it's not as much as they would get normally.
Yes. But Helen's like, it's not your fault. Like, you're not giving the cows TB. And he's like, yeah, but, I guess he feels it. And all that stuff. And he doesn't want to, get the practice shut down.
Right, because he keeps ballsing up the forms.
Because he keeps ballsing up the forms and all of that stuff. And then you hear drums start, playing in the background. So, that's him thinking about the war again and if he needs to serve, that kind of thing. But, he doesn't tell Helen. She asks him, is there anything else? Are you sure there's nothing else? And then he's like, nope.
She knows there's something else.
She knows there's something else.
He, shame on him. Keeping that from her.
I know.
But I guess I get it because I think he's trying to avoid doing it, but he just can't stop thinking about it.
No, he can't.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But all right, with that one, I need a break. Do you need a break?
Yes, we'll take a break.
Okay. When we come back, we'll go into a whole rest of the episode.
Support for all creatures, great and small, on Masterpiece is made possible locally by WITF members and by Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, and Argiers Murati Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster.
Welcome back. We are coming back to the Skeldale House, and Siegfried is holding Tricky.
I love Tricky.
I love any episode that Tricky's in, even if Tricky isn't a mainstay.
I know.
Just that fluff butt, seeing it walk down the hall. I like objectifying Tricky.
He's so cute, though.
He's got a little wiggle.
My gosh, I love him. And Siegfried's eating Tristan's cake, and goes, "Why don't I get cake?" I don't know, Siegfried. Why?
And Mrs. Hall's just one of life's many mysteries,
which is so perfect. I love her so much. And then he's eating it and goes, "No, Tricky, you can't have it." And
Tricky's protesting. Yeah, little grumble rumble.
I know. It was great. This is a great way to open this segment up. So then Tristan comes in and says to Siegfried, I can't believe, you're going to turn into Mrs. Pumphrey.
Wearing the pearls and everything.
I know. I love it. Calls him out. And then, Siegfried goes in to try and step into Tristan's car and how he already called Dinsdale and said,
take it back.
To take it back. And, no.
Rude. This is his car, his money, Siegfried.
Yep.
He's an adult. You don't get to say what he can have.
And just Tristan saying, he's chewing on the cake and goes, no. I love it. Way to handle Siegfried. Tristan's stepping into his own and really knowing how to handle him.
He's getting confident, yeah.
Yep. And then Tristan and Mrs. Hall just laugh at Siegfried, and I love it.
Tristan also shares that he has a date with Florence.
Yes.
And Siegfried's with our rival. And he's your rival. And yes, and Mrs. Hall's so excited for Tristan because this is big. He actually likes her. Yeah, so they're just laughing at Siegfried because he's all beside himself about this.
Oh, yeah, and he's trying to forbid him from seeing someone. Sorry, dude.
Take your car back. You can't see that girl.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Am I 15? I'm confused. So Siegfried definitely has something going on.
Yeah, he's struggling.
He's struggling. So then we go upstairs. Helen's helping with the forms, and that is 100% what I do with Casey.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh. I'm all right, let me schedule the doctor's appointment.
Does he make the balls up of the forms?
He balls them up. I just fill them out for him.
That's nice.
I'm he'll have them out, and I'm just can you sign this? And he's what is it? I'm just sign it. Just sign it. I'm done.
She's very distracted, too. This is the first time we see, real life creeping into their relationship in daily life way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's okay, love you, bye.
And she's bye.
Bye, see ya. And it's nice because she says, this is more important.
Yeah.
She really cares.
Yeah.
And I love that. Very supportive of him. So then we have James. going to Mr. Rudd to get the forms be signed, right?
Right.
And
to take this cow away for slaughter. Yeah,
exactly. So he just goes and says, like, my wife does the signing of the forms. It's very interesting back then that his wife is doing the signing of the forms, because usually it's like, you know, like I buy a house and I put I'm doing all the work for it.
Yeah.
And his name is first.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I was
that's still the
sour,
way it is.
Very sour about it.
I kind of thought it might be possible that Mr. Rudd isn't literate.
That's a
that
good
he's
thought.
not good at writing or reading, so he didn't want to sign it because he couldn't really understand what the words said. But he didn't want to admit that outright, because we remember there was an episode where what was her name, Anne, with the cows.
Yes.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Because she bought that stuff.
She bought that stuff not knowing, because she couldn't read. So I'm just wondering if it's similar to that.
That's a good thought.
That was my thought, but also I think he's delaying.
That was my other thought too. Is he delaying this? Like,
Maybe
I'm
it's
not
both.
signing that. I don't want to lose my cow. So, but at least like he gets some kind of compensation for having to put down like a positive case.
I did want to note that it's kind of crappy that James did not tell him up front what would happen if a cow tested positive. Mm-hmm. He kind of left that out, hoping that it wouldn't happen, and that's not realistic. Like that.
Well, I think he told him that it would. The cow testing positive means that you have to put it down.
Right.
And I think
But
Mr.
he
Rudd
didn't-
understood that, but he didn't know he'd have to
say
shut
about shutting the farm
down. So he goes to hand him the form. Here, sign this. Oh, and by the way, and that's how you know James really doesn't like confrontation.
Yes.
He does not like delivering bad news. He's not horrible at delivering bad news. We've seen in
he's
other
kind
episodes. He's
and
very
compassionate.
kind. Exactly. But he's just like, oh, by the way, we have to shut it down.
The sign here.
Yep, sign here. He's like, what?
Just kind of crappy.
Yeah, it is kind of crappy. And I also wonder how long it's going to take for Mag to get out there to test the rest of the herd.
Yeah, I mean, it's a government thing, so it's going to take a while.
Yeah, 2 years, right?
Hopefully not that long.
Hopefully not that long, but yeah. But at least Rudd signs the papers. He doesn't give James a hard time, which he could have, so that was really good. Mm-hmm. I appreciated that. So we go back to Skeldale. Tristan is prepping for his date.
Yes.
Siegfried is clinging to Tricky, which is what I would be doing, so I understand. And Mrs. H calls out Siegfried about, like, Siegfried, you know, what's up with you in this
like
car?
Tristan's being responsible. This is everything you wanted. Why are you being such a cranky bee about it?
Yeah. Cranky Siegfried, which is not Allie, because Allie's not cranky.
No.
But, you know, she says he's a man now. You've got to let him make his own decisions. And he just, like Siegfried admits, he wanted to buy his first car.
Right.
And she's like, you did, remember? How did that turn out?
Yeah, so all of this is happening, and it's all good things. And Siegfried just has to let go.
He does have to let go. And it's very hard for him.
Let it go.
So, but then he brings up that Mrs. Hall is like, I'm going out, talks about where she's going, says, is it a date? She's like, it's not a date. And I'm like, come on.
Is it a date?
Right? Like, Siegfried,
You
he
see
called
it in her
out.
face. Yeah.
I know. And all of a sudden, now she has doubts.
Now she's panicking.
She is panicking.
She's
and it's
freaking
like
out, man.
They've had a decent relationship. And, you know, Gerald's made some strides with her and growing
trust,
and
they,
trust.
they enjoy each other.
Yeah. But, okay, thanks, Siegfried. Go back to Helen, saving James with helping with the forms. Just like she was good with the books.
She's good at everything she does.
She is. She's a Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
No wonder you got her.
No, I am not good at everything I do.
You're Wonder Woman, though. So that's good. So then we see when they're dropping off the post, Tom's going to train for the army.
Yes.
You know, he's getting on the bus. Helen sees in James' eyes, and I think now she finally understands.
She knows what he's leaving out.
Here's the missing piece of what he's been not saying.
Yes.
You know, and we immediately see like worry.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
so
they
many
emotions.
Just got married.
I know.
This is not what she had planned.
No, I'm
it's
sure
not what anyone
not.
had planned.
Yeah. So, but James is like, Tom's doing his duty. It's important. And then Helen's just like, dude, you're important.
You're
you have to
staying
stay.
here.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Nice try. But he didn't answer how she wanted him to. Like, what do you think?
He's not committing to like staying.
Exactly.
And I can understand why he feels this drive to help when he sees everybody else helping. Mm-hmm. But I'm on Team Helen here. I am Helen. I would not want him to go either. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything she says is valid. And yeah, I mean, I can imagine that would be really hard. It's still hard today to send somebody off to.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what you're going to see, whether you're going to come back alive or in one piece. That is a lot on any relationship. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So then we switch to Mrs. Hall showing up to the not date.
The date, not date.
The date, not date. And it's so sad when he just they walk away and he just drops his flowers.
He looks so defeated. He can see her face from a distance and he already knows that something's wrong and he hides the flowers even though she's already seen them. And then, as they're walking away.
Another guy gave flowers to a woman and they kissed and went in.
And then she looks horrified.
Yes. And so he quickly hides the flowers and then they walk away and he drops them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Gerald. I love Gerald.
I know.
I feel really bad for him. And she's just freaking out, man. She's freaking out.
She's freaking out. But the acting was just amazing again. And then she opens up again about her marriage and her relationship with her son and how she's okay with where she's at.
Yes.
And she doesn't want it to change.
She feels comfortable. She likes talking to him. She likes their relationship as it is. Even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just Gerald's so sweet. He's okay.
Yeah, he's
fine.
I shouldn't have pushed you. It's my fault.
Which it's fine. You were just trying.
Yeah, you were shooting your shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I wonder if Gerald's staying on the show. Is this how we exit Gerald from the show? Is he leaving? Because I have not seen Hugh.
Right. Hugh has not been on the show. This is true. And I don't know that he'll be back because Helen's married now, but who knows?
It doesn't matter.
Who knows? Maybe he'll make a guest appearance. I didn't read this scene as Gerald's exit from the show permanently. But you know that I'm on the whole team Siegfried Audrey.
That's true.
Camp, so we'll see
if I'm
bye. Right. Yeah, I love Gerald, and I think he would be perfect for Mrs. Hall.
I think so too.
But
he's so genuine and understanding. But anyway, we switched to Tristan and Florence's date, and I love the landscape, and the boulder they're sitting on looks like an awesome spot for a picnic. So way to go, Tristan.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
I also noted the boulder while I was watching, and I'm just I love this. This is beautiful. Can I have a picnic here?
Right? Oh my gosh, we have to go. Mark that down. This is where
we have to find
visit.
The nice boulder.
Yes, we have to find that nice boulder. It's got to be somewhere.
I'm sure we could get that information from someone.
Yeah, and if you're listening, please let us know.
Tell us where the boulder is.
The boulder is, because we're gonna eventually save up our pennies and hopefully go on a road trip. We can't road trip out there.
We'll just take a canoe. We'll row across.
We'll row across the Atlantic Ocean right there. Oh, goodness.
Oh, God.
So Florence, I thought it was very interesting. They actually got into a deep conversation, between Tristan and Florence. And Florence actually brings up how she opens up to him and brings up how she has to have a thick skin due to constantly being asked, where are you really from?
Right, because she's tan.
Exactly.
She's a little brown.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. Casey gets that because he's Italian, Irish, and Filipino.
Oh, okay.
He gets it all the time.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? What are you? And it's
Philly?
Yeah, right. I'm from Philly, dude. Calm down. Born and raised. What do you mean?
Yeah, it would be annoying to have to constantly explain, no, I was born here. This is where I'm from.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she's here. This is where I'm from. Calm down. So that was interesting, little nod to that. And, I feel like that conversation's more than Tristan has ever really gotten.
Oh, no. This is definitely the deepest relationship we've seen him have on the show.
Yeah.
And I feel like probably the deepest relationship he has had.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he goofed around in college.
That's true. Yeah. And, what's Tristan's dream?
Yeah, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know because he's just kind of followed what Siegfried kind of wanted for him. But now he's growing into his own. He got a car. I loved how she's not oh my gosh, you have no dreams. It's ridiculous.
You have to figure this out, dude.
Yeah, she's no, didn't you dream you wanted a car? And look, you bought one.
And then you asked me out. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cute.
You're a dreamer. So it was really cool. I really liked that scene between them. It was uplifting and, you know, she's very supportive. So I like that relationship.
Yeah, she's really good for him.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So we go back to Skeldale. Mrs. Hall comes back. She's very upset. Edward is clearly like, you know, on her mind when we see her pick up the photo.
Yeah, she has a lot of stuff in her past she needs to move past, I think, before she can be happy in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Helen actually talks to Siegfried. I like this scene.
Yeah,
because
I liked it
there
too.
was some tension between Siegfried and Helen, and she's opening up.
Yeah.
You know, about how she's scared. You know, it's quoted, "I know this sounds selfish. I've given so much to be here. You know, Jenny, her dad, the farm. She doesn't regret it, but she cannot lose James."
Yes. And Siegfried responds that he won't let that happen. Why do you think that I made him partner? He's vital here. He's not allowed to leave.
Exactly. Like, he's not allowed to leave. And she's like, well, what if we can't stop him? And he goes and says, like, it may not always seem like it, but I do, in fact, run this place. And everyone's
trying to maintain control.
It's like, who really runs the place, Mrs. Hall?
I think we see this in every interaction he has with Tristan in this episode where he's trying to maintain control and he doesn't have it.
Oh, it's not there. Mrs. Hall has it all.
Yes.
So, but it was good. You know, he's like, everyone here is in my care. Like, do we understand? You understand? Like, I'm keeping them here.
Yeah, he's very fatherly in every interaction he has with the people in this house.
Yes.
Except for Mrs. Hall.
Yeah.
He's more like a husband to her.
Yes. Which is what you want.
Yes.
So I really liked that. And then we have a knock at the door or a ring at the doorbell, and Mag is here.
Oh, no.
And Siegfried with that dust comment was just perfect. I was like, way to go.
I'm surprised to see you out in daylight.
I know. That you turned to dust.
Very clever.
I know. So now we go to a mad dash. Malik took the wrong cow. James has to make this better. He
because it's all his responsibility.
Exactly. James' car breaks down. He jumps in Tristan's car. Wow,
yeah, which
Tristan
is really lucky.
Yes, very lucky. They find out it's the wrong truck. They have to go to Malik's, and they're not in time. It looks like a cow was already slaughtered.
Like
I did not need to see that. Thanks, though. And then we find out Mr. Rudd's his cow is still in the wagon.
Yes, thank God.
Thank
goodness. The cow is still fine. His prize milker is still alive. Exactly. Malik did not murder the cow yet, which is great. But I love Malik.
I know. Malik is a hoot. He definitely is. He eats after slaughtering.
Oh,
with
he's
blood
got blood
all over his
him, and he like rinses his hand maybe after handing food to his guests.
I know. And they look like, sure, I'll eat this, but I pray that they don't.
Pie, my favorite.
I know. Like, oh, this is great. So then Tristan goes to drop off Florence. She goes and kisses him. Finally,
love it. She made the first move, which is
did.
unusual too, because Tristan's usually the one that's like,
I know,
I got
but he's
this.
so nervous.
He is so nervous around her.
She definitely
It's
makes
so
him
good.
so nervous. Yeah, I love it. And then like it's raining by the car when we go to James, who's thinking and thinking with his,
he looks concerned,
sad,
tired, sad boy ballad.
Sad boy.
Sad boy ballad.
Sad boy ballad. Oh my gosh. And then Tristan gets a kiss and then he comes back and James pretty much talks about how he's exhausted about the TB stuff. He doesn't really like, I probably shouldn't do this anymore.
Like he's so tired.
He is, but like his mind's clearly elsewhere.
Right. He also feels he should
elsewhere.
be somewhere else. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but then Tristan goes and says, don't tell Siegfried because it's going to cause some sort of space-time continuum.
A rift in the space-time continuum or something like that. Yeah, it's so funny. I love that they stick together. They feel very much like brothers.
Yeah.
Like, I keep forgetting that they're not actually brothers.
Yes.
But they
act like it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So then we arrive back at Skeldale and Mr. Harcourt's here and James, clearly his heart drops to his feet.
Right.
He's about to pass out.
He thinks he's there to shut down the whole practice because he ballsed up the forms. I feel so like it's when your boss says, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" and you just go, "What did I do wrong?" And you go through your entire 24 hours.
Yep.
In your head.
Yep, exactly.
You're responsible for all this.
I am, yes.
I told Mr. Harcourt you took the running of the TB testing program entirely upon yourself, on top of your usual practice work.
Aye, that's true.
The amount of them you were getting through, I assumed the old practice was turning its hand to the matter.
No, it was just him.
Your work will already have saved lives. Here, credit to your profession, lad.
Thank you, sir.
I love that. Well, and throughout the
his whole
thing,
face, he looks
his
terrified.
face, he's like, I'm being fired. I have to go
I'm
back
dead.
to Scottsdale. Like my parents have to, like, we have to live with my parents now. Like, all of this is going through
I'm
his
going to
head.
work the docks.
I'm going to work at the docks. Helen looks at Siegfried and is like, what are you up to?
Right. She doesn't trust it either.
She does not trust this at all. And she's like, what's going on? But then it's like, it's all good.
All's well that ends well.
It is. And I love how Mr. Harcourt says, like, your work is saving lives. And he compliments him. I thought that everyone was going through, like, everyone was doing it because you're doing so much.
And he's apparently doing a good enough job.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really like this scene because you get to see that Mr. Harcourt isn't just, like, a total pain in the tuchus. Like, he actually, like, deeply cares. And I think he genuinely likes James.
I think he genuinely likes him.
He likes him. I think he likes what he's doing, but he has to be a hard ass because otherwise people are going to just, balls everything up.
Yep. But James is hard not to like anyway.
Yeah, it's true. He's such a goody two shoes.
Yeah, I love it. So it was good. He says the next district actually could use some help, and Siegfried agrees for James to do more work.
Which is, sorry, James, you're so tired, but it's his attempt to keep him in the practice.
Yep, you have to stay busy. You need to do extra work.
Everything, all of it. Give us all the TB testing for the entire UK.
Yep, exactly. And then Tristan goes off with Siegfried to drive in the car.
Right. That's his little olive branch. I loved it.
Exactly. That was really good. And then Helen and James go and paint a door in quotations.
Right. They're painting the doorway. Sure. Wink, wink.
Yep.
Got that. The dogs know what they're up to.
Yes. The dogs know what's going to happen.
I'm sorry, not Tristan. Tricky. And just look at each other knowingly like, yep, we know what's happening upstairs. We're not allowed up there.
Yep. No, you're not. Oh my gosh. So this was such a great episode.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
It was the praise, pride of a job, a job well done. I hope it's enough to keep.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm getting real nervous because every time the drums play, every time he looks into the distance, you can tell he's just like torn. He doesn't know what to do.
I know, but then if he goes, we might not have All Creatures Great and Small to watch anymore, and I'm going to be real sad.
There are other characters, and I don't know when the war officially, when they would officially get called out, but
yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure. I don't know enough history to know that. Even though I'm very interested in history, I don't know dates.
Well, we'll have to look them up, and then we'll have to tell people.
Yeah,
and if you have any information for us, let us know.
Thanks for listening to Postscript. We can't wait to hear your thoughts.
And you can send them to ps@witf.org or message us on Instagram @WITFORG or Facebook @WITF.org.
This podcast was produced by Ali Amorós for WITF. I'm Christina Zeiders.
And I'm Beth Cappello. We'll be back with you next episode next week with our very own special guest, Helen Widowson.
Yay!
I'm excited. See you next week.
See ya.
We'd like to thank Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, Argiers Marathi Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster, and WITF members for supporting All Creatures Great and Small on WITF. Thank you.